G'day, mate. What's going on? What's going on, Daniel J?
Not much, man. Just hanging out. Super excited about this upcoming week's game. It's the first one in a new era.
What's going on this weekend?
Oh man, you haven't heard? We have a new quarterback, a new season, a whole new thing going on. Pittsburgh Steelers are opening up.
All right, I got a bit of a quizzle dizzle for you. If I'm someone who's brand new, how would you describe the off season that's been happening like to a brand new fan, a brand new Steeler fan? Is that a hard exercise? But how would you do that? How would you describe to a brand new fan that has no idea about what's happened in the off season?
Well, everything that's happened this offseason is the complete opposite of what you would have expected from the Pittsburgh Steelers in every offseason that's happened up to this point. I mean, from picking up from quarterbacks to offensive line, early free agency pickups to drafting a quarterback in the first round for the first time in 20 years to a new general manager and a change of the name of the stadium. I mean, everything, it's complete opposite. It's we're living in the upside down world, so to speak, when it comes to what the normal is for the Pittsburgh Steeler fan base. But I would also say buckle up because it's going to be a fantastic ride.
Yeah, and let's talk about that just a little bit. So we had the quarterback change. Are you pretty happy with the Trubisky #1 and now Kenny Pickett is 2 and Rudolph 3?
Well, one thing that I had, and we had mentioned it on my show, was that I'm happy with this. I think this was the plan. I think the plan was in free agency. You don't go and identify a player and pick him up that quickly in free agency for him not to be the starter or at least have the position to lose. I think this was the plan the entire time. I think Kenny Pickett surprised some people. I think the plan was for him to be number 3, but I think he did surprise some folks. And Mike Tomlin said so in his press conference when he mentioned that Kenny Pickett was on an advanced pace development, and what he was able to show in stadiums was what propelled him to the quarterback 2 position in the depth chart. And so I'm not surprised by it. I was a little bit deflated, to be honest with you, when it wasn't Kenny Pickett. My mind was saying Mitch Trubisky, but my heart kept saying Kenny. And so every time I got into the debate with myself or tried talking about it out loud, I'd always started off with, it's going to be Mitch, but I always ended it with, maybe it's Kenny.
I would love to see that debate in your kitchen. You're like, it's going to be Mitch. No. I did swear. No, I swear. My mind's telling me no.
That's my pretty much what it is.
Hey, man, no, I kind of like, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with Trubisky. What I'm not okay with, and we will discuss, today's topic will be talking about other Bengals overrated. That's the more fun part, right? Because we did talk about that at the end of your show. If you guys want to go check out Save the Steelers Daniel on his YouTube, that was recorded first. It's recorded second. If you want, put us in the double box. Put us, on one side or the other. Put us on both screens. But I'm a bit worried about the minute that Trubisky starts to fail in any sense. If it's a bad pass or a sack, they're going to start yelling at Kenny. And they'll bring, the fans will give up on Trubisky really early. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, for sure. I think they've, let's go back to when Mason Rudolph walked onto the field in the second preseason game and the first one in Acrisure Stadium. And I'm sorry, the first preseason game, the first one in Acrisure Stadium. And the boos started coming out before he took a play. Now, I don't think those boos were necessarily directed at Mason Rudolph as much as they were because Kenny Pickett wasn't walking onto the field. And so I think that the Pittsburgh Steelers probably should have announced this a little bit earlier to establish confidence in Mitch Trubisky. I get the competitive edge and the competitive advantage when it comes to making a team prepare for more than one quarterback. However, these teams aren't looking at what the fan base is looking at. They're looking at the realness and the facts, and they're seeing that Mitch Trubisky has been playing QB1 this entire time in preseason, has been QB1 in practice. So I don't think they've been splitting up too much time, to be honest with you, when it comes to preparing for this week against Mitch or Kenny. However, the fan base has been in a situation where everybody got super excited and anxious about it possibly being Kenny Pickett and pretty deflated now that it's not. And so I think that in time, especially if Mitch plays well, then, he'll erase all doubt, but it's going to come down to his play. And the biggest issue with that is he's going to have to depend on the front offensive line, and that's going to be a big question mark this year.
That is a very big question mark, and I think a lot of podcasts have talked about it. We talked about it on yours a little bit, but let's get into the nuts and bolts of the show. And you brought up an interesting idea, which is the theme of the show. Are the Bengals overrated? Like, I never really thought about it. I don't like the Bengals. I think they're a good team, but are they overrated to where they're the best in the AFC? Because they're almost, if I bring up this graphic, right, before I get your answer, I showed this the other day, and I love it. Every single bloody analyst is choosing the Bengals to win. So, are the Bengals overrated?
Oh, 100% in my opinion. I mean, when you look at who was predicting that the Bengals were going to make a playoff run that last season, much less a Super Bowl run. I mean, it was a battle between the Baltimore Ravens and the Cleveland Browns for the top positioning in the AFC North going into last season. Going into this season, I don't think that the Cincinnati Bengals should be favored to even win this division now. Now, when you look at last season, the Cincinnati surprised a lot of teams. They had a weaker strength of schedule, in my opinion. And a lot of teams weren't putting the Cincinnati Bengals on their schedule and saying, this is going to be a game we need to get up for. You know what I'm saying? And so
transition. All right. So we were talking about the Cincinnati Bengals, right? There might be a cut there. My editing skills are poor, but I don't care. We'll ask you again. That's the easier way, Daniel, mate.
Yeah.
They're overrated, right? The Bengals are overrated?
Oh, 100%. Like I was saying, the reason behind my belief of their overration is who was picking the Cincinnati Bengals to go to the Super Bowl last year. Right. Nobody was picking them to go to the Super Bowl. Nobody was picking them to make a playoff run. It was the Cleveland Browns. It was the Baltimore Ravens that were predicted to win the division. And, the Baltimore Ravens suffered a tremendous amount of injury. And honestly, the Browns did too when it came to their quarterback. Baker Mayfield suffered a shoulder injury that didn't allow him to be the same player that he was in previous years. And that's just the truth. Now, because of those things and an aging quarterback in Ben Roethlisberger and an offensive line that was falling apart, that gave a wide open lane for the Cincinnati Bengals to, take advantage and win the North. And they did so. And, congratulations to them on that. It's the first time in many decades, many years that they've done so. And so, but with that being said, how many teams go from worst to first and maintain the first place? I mean, we all remember the teams like the Jacksonville Jaguars that made it all the way to the championship game in 15? And what did they do after that?
Nothing.
Exactly. And so, what comes with winning a division and being in that close to the Super Bowl is one, a draft pick that's going to be a little bit higher than normal or lower than normal, depending on the way you look at the draft, and also a strength of schedule that's going to be significantly tougher and a bullseye on your back. Nobody's going to not expect the Cincinnati Bengals to perform well. And so, but let's look at a couple of things last season. With everything said, Ben Roethlisberger being, 40 years old almost, and an offensive line that was falling apart, the Cincinnati Bengals only, took the North by half a game, and so they were only won 10 games. And one stat that I found to be quite intriguing is the fact that 40% of the Cincinnati Bengals games last year were won by less than a touchdown, right? By less than a single possession, right? And for whatever reason, I don't know, maybe the Cincinnati Bengals have a superb special teams, but the opposing team playing the Cincinnati Bengals, and I heard this on one of DK Sports podcasts, so I'll shout them out because that's where I heard it from. I went and looked, and sure enough, opposing teams against the Cincinnati Bengals when it came to field goals were 23 of 31 for 74% accuracy. There's a lot of good luck that happened last season, in my opinion, when it came to the Cincinnati Bengals that I don't think it's going to happen twice, so to speak. And so are they good? Are they talented? I think so. But there was a lot of contributing factors that led to them getting to where they did. and the ball bounced their way a few times, especially against the Chiefs, against the Raiders in the playoffs. There were some plays there that in my opinion, especially against the Chiefs, had that game handily and gave it away. But the Chiefs were playing in that manner the entire season. They did it against the Steelers as well. The Steelers just didn't capitalize on the Chiefs not trying to put a game away. And we were talking off air and referencing that in the playoff game and in garbage time, so to speak, Kelsey had a touchdown pass against the Steelers.
That was the worst.
Yeah, there was no point in doing that. And so, but they were doing that to teams all season, and they were playing in that manner, which allowed teams to catch up like the Cincinnati Bengals. And so they made it that way. Congratulations to them, but let's see if they do it again. I think that with everything stacked up against them and the Baltimore Ravens being healthier and the Pittsburgh Steelers getting younger in key positions and faster and healthier, I think that the Steelers are going to have they're flying under the radar, very low. And I think that as far low, like I mentioned on my channel, as far low as the Steelers are flying, the Cincinnati Bengals are as overrated in my opinion.
Well, that's the point I like. Right, that's the point I like what you're saying. As far low as the Steelers are underrated. No one thinks we're going to win, but yada 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 yada. Super underrated we are right now as the Pittsburgh Steelers with a new quarterback and everything like that, right? And on the other side, and we're a very similar team. We now have George Pickens, we have Deontay, we have Claypool, who hopefully can play better. We have Najee Harris, a running back. The offensive line does scare me a little bit, but they'll get better. But on the other side, the defense, both defenses for the Bengals and the Steelers are pretty, pretty this, like, they're young, they're angry. We got TJ Watt, we got Minka, they've got the secondary guys. But I want to go to, I just looked up their schedule, right? And get your thoughts on this. I want to see this is the back half, right? Let's go quick fire, the back half, and we'll see what their record is and give me your honest prediction on what, and this might put the nail on the head for them being underrated, right? I'm going to choose after the bye. After the Cincinnati Bengals bye, they verse the Steelers. Do they win? What are they?
After the bye versus the Steelers, I think at that point the Steelers they're going to be a better football team at that point than week 1 of this season.
No. The Bengals. If the Bengals win, we're doing the Bengals record after the bye, and I want to see what.
No, I understand that. What I'm saying is after the bye, the Steelers are going to be in a lot better position than they are now. I think the Steelers win that game because of it. Right. Even I'm not sure if the Steelers are going to win this game here. It's going to be a tough matchup just because of where they're going at. But I think that when you look at the Steelers week 1 and you look at the Steelers after the Bengals bye, that's going to be two different teams, in my opinion. I think that team's going to be better for the Steelers, and I think that the Steelers are going to win in that game.
I agree. So we'll go 1-0, right? Now, the Bengals then go on to verse Tennessee, 1 p.m. game at Tennessee. Do the Bengals win that game?
I'm not a big fan of Tennessee, to be honest with you. I think the Cincinnati Bengals do win that game.
All right, so we've got them 1-1. They then verse, this is a hard game, KC Chiefs at home.
What time is that game?
4:25.
Oh, that's pretty close to a primetime game. I'm sure that's going to be the televised game. It's going to be a big game. I expect it to be high scoring. I think the Chiefs still pull it out. I think the Chiefs are a solid team, and they got Juju Smith-Schuster, so he's a guy that is going to have some added. What's the word I'm looking for? He remembers that hit that they gave him that caused that fumble, so he's going to go in there with something to prove.
I think the Chiefs win that game too. So we've got 2-1, right? We're both on the same. They then verse the Browns at home. Do the Bengals beat the Browns?
This is before Deshaun Watson returns, right?
He's back. He should be back.
He should be back by this point.
Yeah, December 11, he should be back. I think
that's going to be a close game.
Yeah,
that's going to be a close game because Deshaun Watson, he's been sitting out not just this past season or this upcoming 11 games, but the full year last year. At a certain point, he's going to be rusty. He's going to have to build off that rust. He's got that game, the first game back against the Houston Texans, to knock off the rust, and that's going to be a game that I'm sure he's going to be hyped about. And so I think that by this point he should be better shape. So I'm going to go and say that the Browns win this game.
Right. I've got them. I'm not going to do my record. I'm just going off yours, but I've got them. It's a hard game, right? It's a very hard game. So we'll go. Right. You've got them 2-3. 2. Now we have them versing after this game. I'm going to have a point to this too, because I looked at this, I thought, oh my goodness. They then verse at Tampa Bay. Do they beat Brady in Tampa Bay? With that defense too, they're a good team.
Tampa Bay is a good team. This is down the stretch. This is in December. This is when usually Tampa Bay or Tom Brady starts to get into form. I think Tampa Bay takes this game.
Yep. So it's 2 and 3. We then have the Cincinnati Bengals going to Gillette Stadium, New England Patriots, 1 p.m. game, which probably that might be flexed as well. That's Christmas Eve for me.
That's going to be a good game as well. That's a good defensive game. And you got the Patriots that are, Bill Belichick. He's always going to be defensively sound. This is in New England on the road in December. I'm going to go ahead and take the home team.
You going New England?
I'm going New England. I think so. Here's my thing about Joe Burrow is he still has a question to come when it comes to the arm strength, in my opinion. He had the whole knee surgery and everything else that happened with him. But when I unfortunately didn't get a chance to watch the last game against what the Steelers played against the Bengals. I had a dog emergency. My dog needed surgery that day. And so I didn't get a chance to watch it. But what I do remember from seeing Burrow playing in Pittsburgh the previous year was that he had a difficulty throwing into the wind and throwing in elements. And that was previous to his injury. I feel that might sneak up, especially in New England in winter. If this is flexed to a night game, it's going to be a cold game. I think I like New England, and I like Bill Belichick scheming out a way out of that game.
I don't care what team they have there in New England. It's always a tough game in New England. Like always,
sure.
They're so well coached. The Patriot way, it's really hard down the stretch. They'll be playing for possibly their division title and maybe the playoffs. The next 2 games are going to hammer down my point. Buffalo Bills in Paul Brown Stadium or Cincinnati. Who wins that game?
This is the second to last game. Well, at this point, the way the schedule has always been the way the schedule's been played out in previous years, the big important games and divisional games are laid out to the end. So I reckon that this is going to be an important game for both sides. I like Josh Allen over Joe Burrow. I like what he can do physically. I like the Buffalo Bills as a team and as a unit, and especially as a coaching staff over the Bengals. I'm not too thrilled about Bengals coaching staff and what they do out there, but they were successful last year, so it is what it is. Let's see them do it again. But I digress. I think the Bengals lose this one.
So do I, because I think the Bills are playing for more at this time. The Bengals are playing for more as well, trying to play for a playoff spot. But we already have them at 2 and 6 after the bye. So this goes into your point saying they're overrated, because they could very well be overrated, because there's a hard schedule at the very end, and that's what happens when you win the AFC North. You get the hard teams. Correct. So I see what you're saying. The last game is in Paul Brown Stadium in Cincinnati, possibly for the division. If the Ravens need to win this one for the division, it's Bengals versus Ravens. Who wins this one?
Well, this is going to depend on health. If the Ravens are healthy at this point, with Lamar Jackson, his style of quarterbacking it's dangerous. You know what I mean? And it's a long season. So if Lamar Jackson is in there, I see the Ravens beating the Bengals and them going 2 and 7.
2 and 7?
If it's not Lamar Jackson, then I can see the Bengals winning this game. But I can see the Bengals taking this one. I mean, not the Bengals, the Ravens. And
I agree with you. So after that, that's why I chose the bye as the example, because the harder games were on the back end. And you look at that, you had the Patriots, the Buccaneers, you had the Pittsburgh Steelers after a bye. Now, if the Bengals go into a free-fall motion, then very well there could be an overrated team. But we will see. We'll see what happens. And, of course, this is just opinion-based of what we're seeing, right? And it might be completely different. But I think right now, I know for me personally with this Bengals team, and I want to hear your thoughts too, I actually probably do think they're a little bit overrated, because not in the sense like they're the team-wise. I think overall as a whole, not skill level, but structure of what's going on. It took you 30 years to win a playoff game. 11,100 something days I counted until you actually beat the Raiders. You just beat the Raiders in the last second. I think it was the last second touchdown to win or something like that near the goal line. And then you went on to beat the Titans, who just beat them as well. They absolutely messed the bet up. They couldn't do anything. And then you beat the Chiefs, who gave up a massive 28 to 14 point halftime lead, and they lost 33-31 in overtime. They got lucky. They're not the best team out there. I would say even for a certain extent, the Chiefs are not the best team out there either. I actually like Denver with Russ Win. I think Denver can create something out of nothing. I do like what the Bills are doing. The Bills are that team where you play them at home, and I think we might get shellacked in that game. I got a feeling they could beat us like 48-0. But I don't understand why and how everyone thinks that the AFC North is going to be easy this year. There are 3 teams who are competing for the AFC North. It's in my opinion, it's the Ravens, the Bengals, and the Steelers, because we are always around there. We're half a game away last year. The Browns, I think, are going to be a disaster for the first half. And the Ravens are probably in that spot sitting, well, we were bad last year. They lost 6 games in a row. They are sitting back going, yeah, you guys can do whatever you want. You can claim yourself to be the best in the AFC North. We don't care, because they're probably going to have the best chance to win it, right?
Right. Well, I mean, right now I think they're predicted to be the winners. The Ravens are for the AFC North at this point. But here's the thing: the Cincinnati Bengals are finding themselves in an unusual predicament. They're in an unusual position that's probably very precious. I mean, not precious. They have a lot of pressure. I mean, you're looking at them right now. They're coming off a Super Bowl appearance, right? All eyes are on them. Everybody has chosen them to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers are right now. Yeah, the Steelers right now are predicted to win less games than the Browns.
Yes.
Did you know that?
Yeah, I did. I did a video today on it, or yesterday. 7 games.
Yeah, 7.5, and I think that the Browns are predicted to win 8.5 games.
8.5
without Watson there for 11 of those games.
Crazy.
They're saying that basically the Cleveland Browns are better with Jacoby Brissett are better than Mitch Trubisky and the Pittsburgh Steelers with T.J. Watt and Minka Fitzpatrick and Miles Jack. If you guys are betting, I would bet on the over for the Steelers this year. But yeah, all the pressure.
Logic would tell you if you want to do that. I'm not saying you have to bet, but you were saying logic would tell you.
No, logic would.
That's where it's at.
Yeah, but I mean, all the pressure's there. Everybody's looking at them. They're coming home. They're the AFC North champs. They're at home. A team that's coming in that's predicted to be the worst team in the division. A team that's predicted to be picking in the top 10 next year. And so, all the pressure is on them for one time.
So much. Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the last time that the Steelers were a underdog to the Cincinnati Bengals.
I don't know that either. That must be the first time in probably since like 2014 or something. They were actually a good team.
Yeah, 2014 when Dalton when there was not that much tape on Dalton and he got away with some things, and so. But yeah, so with that being said, I just don't think that what do you call it? I think all the pressure's on them. There's no pressure on the Pittsburgh Steelers.
None.
Nobody's expecting them.
We've already lost, mate. We've already lost.
Exactly. And so this is a quite an opposite position for the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cincinnati Bengals to be in. And here's the thing. Let's just say the Bengals regress. Do you think all this Joey Burrow is the best quarterback since, probably Tom Brady or Joe Namath talk stops, or do you think they start blaming the offensive line and the Cincinnati Bengals organization for the regression?
What I'm really hoping is with that question, I think he's a good quarterback. I see that, right? He is. He's talented. He can do things, whatever. I get it. I always do that notion. Joey Shiesty, I get it, whatever. But it's like, at the end of the day, you have this organization that's taken so much time, 30-odd years to win a playoff game. Yes, you won 3 in a row, and it's now you think you're the best. I just don't see it. So people, Bengals fans will come in here and they'll be like, the bad word Berg or whatever. And, you're like, oh, okay, that's original. It's Berg. Like you just make up something better. But It's like this is a game that I really hope, like out of the whole season, I hope we win this one, because if we win this one, I am not letting it go ever.
Oh, no,
like I
neither
am
will
not letting it go.
This
the amount of
game,
talk.
Yeah, no, this game's gonna be good. This game's gonna be fun, especially if the Pittsburgh Steelers win, because all the talk coming from the AFC North foes of the Pittsburgh Steelers are that the Steelers are going to have a down season. Everybody's like, finally, Ben is out of there. The Steelers are gonna suck now, and yada yada yada. And for us to transition, even if let's just say Mitch Trubisky is the next guy, and we have a good problem there between Mitch and Kenny, right? I mean, can you imagine like how the other teams in the AFC are going to feel like they just finished almost 2 decades of dealing with Ben, and now here comes the new guy. I like it. I like it.
It'd be great if we have 2 good quarterbacks who Trubisky is playing well to be hopefully, 4-2 in the first whatever. That'd be fantastic. And then if Kenny's playing better, bring him in and give him a shot. But I think if we can win this game, the Steelers can win this game, and I'll get your prediction in just a minute. If they can win this game, then to me, it's just be so good. It'd be good for our content as well. Like, I won't even talk about it that much. I'll just be like, the Bengals, every single Bengal fan already thinks they've won. Okay, we get it. You're on the high horse. You're up there. You went in the Super Bowl. That was like your fairy tale moment. They liked it. They actually liked that they went there and lost. They're happy with it. Like they're happy that they went there and lost the Super Bowl. So they're kind of like it's okay. But for me, this is the one where the exact same scenario as last year with the Bills. And I said that in a video the other day. I said it's the exact same scenario as last year versus the Bills. And someone said the Bills aren't in your division. I'm like, you don't watch the whole video, do you? You bloody loser. We play the Bengals twice a year. Yeah, I understand that, mate. I used to talk to a guy like back when I was at Pizza Hut, and he used to tell me, I can't wait to see the Ravens versus Steelers in Super Bowl. And I said, you're an idiot.
Jeez.
Yeah, dude, that's what I got to put up with here. I got to put up with that. They don't understand.
You need to educate everyone, bro. You need to go out to all the Pizza Hut establishments one at a time. And let them know what way it breaks down in the NFL.
I've heard that a million times here when I've been talking to people. Like, hopefully the Packers versus the Vikings, that'd be a good game in the Super Bowl. You don't get it.
Oh man.
Anyways, do you want to give out your prediction now, or are you going to save yours for later?
I'll give out my prediction here, and I need to write it down so I don't change it later.
Yeah,
but I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are gonna win this game 27-17. I think that they win by 10, and I think it's actually not as close as the score says. I think that the Bengals score in some garbage time make it closer.
Ooh,
I think it's 27-17.
I'm gonna go. So everyone note that down, and then head over to Save the Steelers, and then yell at him if he's wrong. Nah, don't do that. Don't do that.
Do it. But hit the like button while you're doing it, and the subscribe button.
I'm gonna go. I get this feeling it's a Boswell game, and I will have to stick with mine too, because I want to do some more previews and stuff along the week. But I think it's gonna be Steelers 23-21. I think we just sneak away enough where they say, "Oh, the Bengals had a really bad day. It wasn't their fault. The Steelers won." You know that logic. Did the Steelers win or the Bengals lose? No, right. Like which one was worse? Well, actually, no. The Bengals sucked and we just won. Get over it. You still lost, right? Don't get something out of this. But I think the media will try and get something out of it. That look, because all these scores as well are pretty close too. They're 25-24, 31-27. It's like they don't want to be wrong if they are wrong, for some of them. Right. So I think the Steelers can win 23-21. Offensively, I think for us, it's a brand new idea. And we'll work our way out, get a few touchdowns, obviously 3 or whatever. And then for them, it's Burrow's going to score 1 or 2 and probably get a rushing one. So hold them and no field goals. And then hopefully it's 23-21 for me. Anything else you want to say in the last few minutes?
No, just go Steelers. And this is going to be an exciting game. I'm excited that TJ Watt is going to be reintroduced to Joey Burrow, a healthier TJ Watt, hopefully. Now, I was looking at this game as being, his healthiest game against Joe Burrow, but preseason, and that knee injury that he had there, which he's not on the injury report. So this could be the most healthiest TJ Watt versus Joe Burrow we've seen, and I'm excited for that. I can't wait for it. And yeah, go to my channel, State of the Steelers on YouTube. And if you want to find me on podcasts, we're on Apple, Google Podcasts, Anchor, all 9 yards. Just search up State of the Steelers.
Yeah, man. Well, you make a good point because, TJ Watt and the Steelers have figured out Lamar Jackson. They've now got 4 games in a row. Again, I think 4 games against the Ravens and about two games in a row against Lamar. So why can't we figure out Joe Shiesty, man? He's just a good pocket passer. He doesn't really run around too much. Joe Mixon can be stopped as well. Yes, he had a big season last year, over 1,000 yards. But I think if you can stop the run, it's pretty much comes down to fundamentals. As boring as it sounds, stop the run, get to the passer. And if TJ Watt's healthy, are the media forgetting about TJ Watt and Highsmith as well? Highsmith now had some time off, but he's going to be back at it. And Cameron Hayward, are they forgetting that the Pittsburgh Steelers have a good defense? Are they forgetting that?
It's going to be amazing, man. When you have, I mean, just think about that. You have Miles Jack back there, and in front of him, from left to right, he's seeing, TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, Larry Ogunjobi, Tyson Aluwalu, Alex Highsmith. I mean, those are guys that are in his front. There's going to lead to some clean lanes for the middle linebackers. I think Miles Jack and Devin Bush are going to benefit and reap the benefits of it as well.
To me, to end it, this game, I think, who's ready more? Are the Pittsburgh Steelers ready all off season? Are they ready to go out and actually want it to win? Or are the Bengals ready more? And whoever turns up and wins the battle on the offensive front, wins the battle on the running backs and that kind of stuff, who is ready more for this game? I would love to see 1-0 Steelers 100% because that would be the funnest week in all year. Don't count us out, right? Because everyone's counting us out and everyone's saying you're not going to win. You're going to win. I don't care. There's a big chance. TJ Watt's playing. I don't know the stat either. If TJ Watt's playing, they have a high chance to win, I would say.
Oh yeah, for sure.
If he's playing, we're all good. Anyways, thanks Daniel, mate, for coming on. What am I? Steeler Nation Australia. You're State of the Steelers. We're all talking football. We love the Steelers. And we have a few days to go. And I know you are going to be pumping content left, right, and center. I'll be doing the same. Wednesday, Thursday? Yeah. I'll be trying to break down some plays, break down the injury report, stuff like that, and get you guys pumped up for the game because we have a chance, man. And I didn't wait all year to wake up at 3 a.m. and then watch my team lose. No. All right? I didn't wait all year to do this. I haven't done a million videos, a million podcasts to go, you know what, we might lose. No, we have a chance to win because we're in the dance 0-0. The Bengals are overrated. You heard it here first from Daniel J. They're overrated. So go and pick on him if they go win. But otherwise, thank you everyone for checking out Cincinnati Australia. Man, fantastic show. Thanks, mate. And here we go, Steelers. Here we go.